Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this show without the express written consent of the Financial Guys, LLC is strictly prohibited.
Securities offered through Peak Brokerage Services, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Independent Solutions Wealth Management or Blackridge Asset Management. Financial Guys, Independent Solutions, and Blackridge Asset Management are not an affiliate of Peak Brokerage Services.
Welcome back to TFG Truth. Today we have the honor of having Lavern Spicer on with us. Lavern, before we get started, I just want you to introduce yourself to our listeners and a little bit about yourself.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Lavern Spicer. I'm a congressional candidate for U.S. House for District 24 in Miami, Florida, which includes parts of Miami, such as Brownsville, Liberty City, parts of Miami Beach, parts of Aventura, also parts of Broward County as well, Miramar, Hollywood, West Park, Carver Ranches. So it's a little, stretched all over.
How'd you get your start in politics?
Well, I got basically, it started because over 20 years ago, I founded a nonprofit organization. And my nonprofit, we give out food to people that are facing food insecurities, people that are low to moderate income. It doesn't matter what they're going through. If they come, they need food, we feed them. We don't play the 1-800 zip code game. You don't have to stay in my district in order to get food. We help them find jobs. We help them walk through that 1-800 homeless process. We help homeless people, vets, and grandmothers that are going through changes. Some of everybody. And each month we provide food for over several thousand families. So anytime you have a nonprofit, of course, you work hand in hand with the politicians because they need your help. You need their help as well, for different type of funding opportunities, as well as partnerships, private, public collaborations, or whatever you could do in your community to help each other and to also help the people. So I have been working with so many politicians in my community. I helped a lot of them get elected, and unfortunately a lot of times once they get elected to their office, they no longer return your phone calls. They forget about what it is you do. They forget about the promises they made to help your organization, and a lot of times they also have the tendency to forget about their constituents, the people that voted for them, the people that supported them when they were running, the people that got out there and knocked on doors for them. They forget all about that, So that's how I got into politics. And when President Trump was in the office, he said, why don't you all run for your districts, because your elected officials are not helping you anyway. And for me, that just was like a resounding bell. And I thought about it and I said, hey, he's right. Why not run? So that was why one of the reasons that helped me to make this decision about running for this seat, because my district is one of the poorest districts in the United States, not just in the state of Florida, but one of the poorest ones in the United States.
So that's interesting, because we're going to talk about a few of those things, and I think you bring a great point about constituents and doing what you've promised them, and everything that you campaigned on. And I think that's a good place to start with the disappointments of the current administration, right? That got elected in back in November. They promised a lot, right? Unification, bringing everybody together, helping ease race relations, helping bring back foreign relations, because Donald Trump screwed it all up, right? That was what they ran on. So far, though, I don't see that, right? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'm in New York, but I don't see that. Race relations certainly have not gotten better, right? Our foreign issues have not gotten better. Quite frankly, they've gotten worse. So I guess the first thing I wanted to ask you is, what are you seeing in your area? Am I sheltered in my area? I'm not seeing what everybody else is seeing? Or is it not getting better like it's not getting better in New York?
I think in my district we're seeing what everyone else is seeing throughout the United States, and it's not getting any better. As a matter of fact, it's really getting worse, because as we are approaching 9/11, we all are reminded about the devastation that took place in the United States, and here we are again approaching that day, and with what's taking place throughout the many countries in the world, that has many of us feeling so unsafe about what may or may not take place here. So yes, with this current political thing that's taking place, it's really frightening. It's really scary, and a lot of people are afraid. So especially if they're watching the news all day, that can be really frightening.
And I think you've seen that a lot, right? With many different things, right? They've scared people to death with COVID, right? They've scared people to death about police officers, right? I mean, if you're you feel like you can't walk down the street anymore, right? I guess that's the best way to say it. You feel like you just can't even walk down the street, or something bad is going to happen to you, and that's all they spew out day after day after day on the news.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're feeding us fear. And of course, a lot of people are reacting to that fear, and some may even be kind of panicking to that fear, because when you talk about the police officers, or whether you want to defund the police or whatever the situation may be, the truth is, when you're in a district, especially many of these districts that are Democratic based, we cannot afford to be without the police, because many of our areas are high crime areas. So we need them.
And going along with this, right? Kamala Harris, who was Joe Biden's running mate, right? She's nowhere to be found in all this. Well, I shouldn't say nowhere to be found. Last week or this weekend she was helping out Gavin Newsom in California, right? But she's nowhere to be found on a lot of these main issues, and main issues she should be at the forefront of, right? The border crisis,
Well, I would think that would be part of her job description as the vice president, you know. And when you watched those press conferences and Joe Biden was speaking, a lot of times you could look at her facial expression and tell that she was really not happy with the things that he was saying. She was not supportive of what he was saying at all. And it just showed all over her face. So I'm not surprised that she is missing.
Do you see her though coming back out and maybe fighting back or saying anything or trying anything here? Because I guess for me it's tough, because you have somebody in the White House right now, and Joe Biden, who, not to make fun of it or to say anything bad, but the guy may have some kind of dementia or something, right? He's just not there, and we all can see that. This would be a time maybe she would hopefully step up and help out. I just don't see it, though. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it, but she doesn't want to do press conferences. She doesn't want to speak in the public eye. I mean, when does she come forward, or when does she make a stand on something?
I don't know, because once again, I have to agree with you. I mean, she didn't go to the border. She didn't want any parts of that. And once again, when Joe Biden is speaking, he has the tendency to not answer questions as well. So, with this current administration, Trump never had a problem with answering questions. But right now, we are not getting any answers for a president that had over 81 million votes.
Right. And let's go into a second issue now, foreign policy, right? The Afghanistan debacle. Let's start there. I've asked this question to many people, and I'll ask the same thing to you. How did we bungle this so badly, and what is the future now? As we've heard, there are many refugees coming into the country, right?
Yes.
I say it this way all the time. For me to get a gun permit in New York, it took me 14 months, right? For them to vet any immigrant or refugee coming in, it seems like they take about an hour to do it. How is that possible, and what does that mean for the future of our country?
So I don't even know because from what I have heard, with many of those people that are coming from Afghanistan, I have heard that they don't have any type of identification for a lot of them. Some of them may not have their birth certificate. You know, they have no documents. So when you're talking about a vetting process, how are we supposed to know exactly who is who? You know, if these people are actually leaving because they are afraid, we don't know if there are people from the Taliban mixed in with these people that are coming here. We don't know who these people are. You know, we don't even know what that vetting process looks like. So, you know, I mean, America has always been the country that represent everything that the Statue of Liberty stands for. You know, we have open arms. We welcome people in, and nothing is wrong with welcoming people in. But I also think that we, as the American people, need to do more to take care of home first. You know, what about this moratorium that's being lifted? And right about now, you have so many people that are going to be homeless, staying in the streets. What about these veterans that are returning here? You know, some of them may end up homeless in the street, like the veterans we already have that are homeless in the streets. So, once again, we need to learn how to take care of home first.
And I'm going to get into that moratorium in a little bit because I do want to pick your brain on that a little bit. And you know, not just Afghanistan too. You know, obviously our southern border is wide open, and I know Florida deals with.
Our borders are wide open, but their borders are closed right now because you know the Taliban is taking care of all of that. Their borders are closed. You know,
right. And that's a great. I didn't even think about that. That's a great point. And what I always say too is the northern border up here by us in New York. That's pretty much closed, right? So the southern border's wide open. The northern border's not. I keep saying the same thing. Am I missing something here? It just doesn't add up. Nothing adds up with this whole thing.
It doesn't add up at all. It doesn't add up.
And for you guys in Florida, you're seeing more of the illegal immigration probably coming into Florida too, right?
Of course, always. You know, we always have people that are basically risking their life to come here. You know, whether it's on a float, a boat, or you know, so many different ways they find a way in. But it's so dangerous, you know, and they're really risking their life to do that. And once they get here, we are basically sending them back to their country. And that's going for the Cubans and the Haitians as well. We are sending them back.
In terms of though that border being wide open and maybe the worst of the worst coming up through that border, right? I mean, they say high percentages of fentanyl and drugs coming up through that border. They you know, not a high percentage, but there are criminals coming up through that border. You know, what would your stance be on that border, and how do we fix that? Because right now it's not working, as we all know.
Well, I think that President Trump, he started the process of trying to build that wall. I think that wall needs to be built. That wall needs to be finished. You know, these people that are in office, they seem as if they really don't know what to do. But what they should do is just finish building the wall. Because once you have that wall up, that wall will keep people out, and we need to have more border patrol place right there on that wall to stop some of that, to stop those people from risking their lives, you know, trying to get here. And like you mentioned, what about those drugs that are coming in through that border opening? You know, we have a lot of fentanyl and coming through there as well, and that's a very dangerous drug. You know,
Yep.
right here in my district, we had a little kid that died because he was on the park playing, and he picked up a towel, and the towel had like a little crumb of fentanyl on it, and he died from that. So that's just how powerful that drug is. And all drugs, they're coming in, you know. So we don't know. Once again, we don't even know who these people are. They could be gang members.
And that's to my next thing. You're leading this in perfectly here. But, again, for an administration that ran on helping the poorer communities, like you said in your district, it's one of the poorest in the country, right? Helping people in need, helping drug addicts in need is not letting fentanyl run through the border, right? Helping people in need is not seeing gas prices go through the roof, right? The rich can afford the gas increase, right? The poor cannot. And I think that's something that just screams to me the hypocrisy of this administration. Your promises all were helping all, right? Inclusivity to all, unifying all. This again, inflation and gas prices and goods all going up. That's not a good thing for these people that you were trying to pitch votes to, right? This is not a good thing at all.
Right. Absolutely. When Trump left office, the gas was like $1 and something a gallon. Now, in some places throughout the United States, it's as high as $5 a gallon. And we could go on and on and on and on and on.
Do you see that impacting your constituents a lot right now?
Yes, of course. Once again, a lot of people are not working. A lot of people lost their businesses during the shutdown that were self-employed, because everybody couldn't recover after being closed for those 3 and 4 months. That was mandatory for non-essential businesses. So a lot of people are facing many challenges because even though those businesses were shut down, you still had to pay your mortgage or your rent. You still had to pay your rent on your business and take care of your business expenses. So a lot of people are still in the recovery mode. Even if you're talking about a restaurant, whether it's on South Beach or whether it's in the hood, if you was closed, shut down for any amount of time, once again, it's a domino effect. The people that are working there were laid off. A lot of them may not have a place to stay. So once again, it was a domino effect, and we still are in the recovery mode from what took place then.
And let's go to that, business owner and I'm going to say, property owner. We talked about the eviction moratorium there. What is your solution to that? Because obviously not collecting rent for a property owner is a major issue, right? You still have to pay, like you just said, the mortgage. You still have to pay the utilities to keep the building, up and running. What is your solution to that? Because I just think that the more we extend this moratorium and the longer it could go potentially if they allowed it, I mean, what are these property owners going to do? They're going to have to foreclose on the house at some point, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, so many people have a lot of properties that they may be renting out, and they can't collect rent. They're not collecting rent because people are not obviously paying the rent, and it's just going to be a real disaster. It's a real disaster. So I think, sometimes it's not just a one person's deal. Sometimes it takes a community to sit down and come up with ideas about what we can do, as well as the community and government, local officials getting together with the community to talk about, what can we do and how can we fix this. And another problem also that I'm seeing with people in my district is that for people that are on Section 8, they are, for a lot of them that are looking for a place to stay, and they have to go and apply for these apartments or these houses, right?
Yep.
So each time they apply, they have to pay an application fee. And a lot of them are already low income people. So they're spending money out of their pocket to pay for all these application fees. And that's pulling their credit score down as well. And they may or they may not get get the apartment or get the house or whatever it is that they're applying for. But still, it's affecting their credit score. So, if you got bad credit, you can't get the place, then your credit is being pulled down each time you apply for a place. And if you have Section 8, Section 8 is guaranteed to pay your rent on time each month. Why do they have to go through the credit process in the first place if they're being backed by the Section 8 program?
And so if they applied at, let's just make an example, 6 places, they're paying 6 different application fees?
Yes, and on the minimum anywhere from $75 to $150.
Well, I mean, that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. If you just apply to 6 places, you would think they would just run it once, right, and pay the one fee if you go look at 6 different places. And I think that's the another example of how this whole system is just backwards, right? We always say this on our radio show and on our podcast. We've lost common sense in our country and probably the world too, right? There's just no more of it. People don't think logically anymore, and I think that's part of the reason we're in so many of these problems that we're in. Another problem with that would be COVID. So let's go to COVID right now. I'll start with the mask mandate, and then we'll go to the vaccine mandate. But, are you seeing this in your schools with kids being forced to wear masks? And what are your feelings on that? Would be the next question.
Yes, we have been fighting at the school board, Broward, Dade, both fighting against that mask mandate. Some parents would probably feel more safe with their kids' right to wear a mask, but I feel like that's the parents. That should be the parents' call, not the school board call. Because the parent would know whether their child is going to do better with that mask on or better with that mask off. Some kids have all type of medical issues. Some may have respiratory issues such as bronchitis, of asthma, whatever it may be, and they may not be able to wear that mask all day. Some of them may even be allergic, because I have met people myself that was allergic to that mask and had a rash all over their face from wearing it, So everybody is different, and I don't feel like it should be mandatory for a kid to wear a mask. I think each case should be different, and it should be based upon wherever the parent feel is right for their kid.
And I think it goes both. It's the same thing with the vaccine, right? It's a personal choice. If you want to wear a mask in school, be our guest. Wear a mask at school. That's okay. If you want to get the vaccine, you go get the vaccine. That's okay. And I think it's just what's scary to me is that where does it end, right? That we keep just everything changes, like, right? First it was you just needed to, social distance and mask up for 15 days. And then it went to, okay, you need to keep social distancing and we need to keep closing businesses down. Then it went to, once the vaccine comes out, people can get the vaccine and we're good to go. Well, the vaccine's here and it's not getting any better, right? The problems are still here and there's no end in sight. And I don't know where that end is.
Yeah, it's very scary. Each and every day we're seeing people that are dying from this, and it's really scary. But the thing is, I feel like it's your choice, because first they said you was gonna need only the Pfizer shot or the Moderna shot, and then they come back and say now you need an additional booster shot that's gonna last for 90 days, and then after this booster shot, then what? So
10 more boosters.
Then 10 more boosters. Yeah. So, once again, people feel that they're so secure because they got vaccinated. But once again, we'll see people that have been vaccinated that are dying just like people that are unvaccinated.
But you don't hear that. That's the problem, right? You're seeing it probably in your district just like we see it and hear it. But you don't see that anywhere else, right? They're still pushing the fact that, hey, if you're vaccinated, you're good to go. And it's just not the truth.
Right. That's what I'm seeing. And, it's also about seeking knowledge, not just watching one radio station and believing everything that these people are saying, because a lot of times we know that the tell lie vision is there just for that, to tell lies,
Right.
and so you have to seek knowledge. You have to seek and find out what exactly is going on, and then be able to make educated guess or educated assumption, whatever, but based on knowledge, and not just based on Channel 4 News or Channel 10 News or CNN. No, seek knowledge. Talk to these doctors. See what it is they're saying about it. Because if you got so many different variants that are taking place, this virus is changing form. So how do they know if this is going to be the answer or not? And why should I risk my life taking a shot or not taking a shot when you all are guessing and you can't tell me exactly what is what?
And they've always said, right, we're going to follow the science. The problem is that they're not following the science, and they're not changing course. They're stuck in this one rut, and they won't get out of it no matter what happens. And again, following the science is showing, and I use the NFL as this example because it's the biggest example right now. The majority of people in the NFL getting sick are vaccinated players, right? It's not unvaccinated guys, it's vaccinated guys. And why are there different rules for the vaccinated players of the NFL compared to the unvaccinated players? It doesn't matter. If you have the vaccine or you don't, you can still get the virus one way or the other.
Right.
And that's just one example of, them not changing any advice or any policy just for basic facts, right? You can look this stuff up. It's not like it's hearsay. It's proven fact now.
Right. And we also had a young lady right here in my district that received the shot, and the next day she was paralyzed and couldn't walk, and I think this lady is in her 30s, and she still cannot walk. So we don't know all the side effects. We don't know everything that's involved with what they put in those shots. Are they really safe? I know
Right.
a lot of people was getting blood clots, and women was having all type of side effects with these shots, but are they really safe?
Right.
So, once again,
Again, back to your point, which should be our choice, right? It's a
right?
personal
It's your
choice. And
choice.
and my next question is to you: what happened to my body, my choice? Right? Did that get blown up? Is that gone now? Because in this it doesn't apply, but other things it does. Again, the hypocrisy is just amazing.
Yes, it is. It's like it's so many different things. I mean, right now, okay, I need you to do this. Now I need you to do that. You're wearing the mask. I need you to get the shot. I need you to get another booster. You can't tell me no, you don't want it. This is what's next. This is what you need to do. So, are we coming into some type of dictatorship society where the government gets to dictate to us what we can and cannot, and what we must and must not do with our lives? And what about them? It's not mandatory for them to take that shot,
Remember
It's
the
not
good old
mandatory for them. So how do they get to dictate to us what we gotta do?
Remember the good old days when they used to say Trump was a dictator, and it's
Yes.
just come full circle. Remember that? And
Yes.
you're seeing it in other places around the world, right? Australia is a disaster right now with what they're doing there, right? There were issues in Canada. France is now, I don't know if you saw the video recently over the weekend of the woman that wouldn't put a mask on and was getting beaten up by the police, right? These
Yes.
policies are not working.
Absolutely.
Let-
So
Let me just, while we finish up here, I want to jump to your campaign a little bit. If you're elected, based on everything we're talking about here, I'm interested to know now. If you're elected, what are your top 2 to 3 things you're doing on day one? What's the most important to you?
day one, I'm putting structure in place to help these small businesses, for one thing. Because when you empower your small businesses are going to hire people from the community, which helps to strengthen the community. We got to have a safety net in place People are falling through the cracks in the system. That's part of the problem right now. People, like you said, what happened to common sense? It went out the door. So when you have people in elected officials that become complacent to the knees, they get to the point where they don't care. Their priorities are things like, well, let's go spray the mosquitoes. Let's take care of spraying the mosquitoes. But on the other side, you have kids that are dying in your district. You got people that need jobs and employment in your district. You have infrastructures that need to be rebuilt in your district. And those are some of the things that I want to work on. Those are just a few, especially with the infrastructure, with what we are seeing here. We have a lot of streets that have large potholes that need to be repaired. We have a lot of work that needs to be done.
And I think you bring up a great point there with building your community back. And I think that's the best way. Look, the best way to build a society, is full of useful people that are giving back, whether it be at their job, whether it be, nonprofit stuff, but doing work and getting things done, keeping your mind fresh, right? All that stuff is super important. Lazy people sitting at home not working is not a good way to build a powerful country, right? It's just not.
You're right. And as we would say, for the church group, idle mind is the devil's workshop. So everybody needs to be doing something that's constructive, and also it can start with the school system. We need to have technology in place. Everybody isn't going to go to college. So what about those kids that have a specific skill or something that they like to do? That's help get them in the right direction of doing whatever it is that they enjoy doing. Because when you are working in a field that you really enjoy, it's not just a job, and you're gonna put forth your best effort, because that's something that you really enjoy doing. Like me, I love helping people. And for me, I'm going to go the extra mile to do that. Now, I've already been doing it for years anyway. I'm already helping my district. We have buildings here that the elevators go out. So, they may call me, hey, Miss Lavern, my elevator isn't working. I make phone calls and get those elevators. And what I'm talking about, in these buildings, they have 17 floors.
Right.
So when you got a floor with 17 floors and their elevators start working, and you have those elderly people that are there on walkers and wheelchairs, then they really need their help. So it's good to know that they know at least you could call Miss Lavern and she is going to help you. That's always been my name. That's always been what my organization, Curly's House, has stood for. That's what we do, And that's what I want to do when I get to Congress. Continue helping people in my district. And build this district up to help people become self-sufficient. And to help people become business owners. So they'll be able to live the American dream and take care of their families.
And that's what it's all about, right? Like you said, loving what you do, providing for your family, being proud of yourself. That's another thing we talk about all the time, right? What happened to pride? That's gone completely away, right? Nobody has pride anymore, and you should. That's one of the greatest achievements in life, is having pride in what you're doing and accomplishing things. And I just we're continuing to build, and this administration is doing a great job, but build a society where nobody has any achievements or nobody's proud of anything, right? A true achievement, not a trophy for all, right? A true achievement of doing something for you.
Absolutely. That's our generation, where we can, the way we were taught. They always taught us it doesn't matter what you do. If you're a janitor, then you be the best janitor there is.
Yep.
That's the way our generation grew up. And then that next generation, I don't know what happened.
Mine, not so much. Yeah, I didn't have that in my generation. But Lavern, thank you so much for coming on with us. Keep up the good fight, and I best of luck to you in your race. I hope to have you on again soon. This was very insightful, and I learned a lot about your district, and it was fun to hear a different perspective. Like I said, we're in New York, you're in Florida. It's good to hear different parts of the country and what people are going through. Next week, I'm going to have on special guest Robbie Starbuck.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one, so I'm looking forward to
Yes.
that. Thanks again, everybody listening. Have a great week.
Inviting me on this show, and if you would like to donate to my campaign, please go to my website, lavernspicer.com, and follow me on Twitter.
That's right. I will. I'll be posting this out for you too, so people will be able to find you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.